What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday, my favorite Wednesday of the week, and it's also our year anniversary for Void Jumpers. To the day, right, Lisa? Is it to the day?
I think we're off by 1 day, but yes.
Oh, well, I think we can just cancel all of this stuff then. Just kidding. Happy anniversary. We're going to play Monster of the Week today. This is Void Jumpers, but we use this book. It's by Michael Sands, and it's really good, and it focuses on character and narrative, and has enough mechanics in there to really let you play whatever kind of game you want to play. And we love it, so we're going to play it. It's been a pretty crazy time in all of our lives, I think I could safely say. But for the past year, I have truly enjoyed being able to jump on and play this game with all of my friends who we can now welcome into the stream. Thanks, suckers. Really appreciate you. And happy year anniversary. That's a pretty big thing for a tabletop.
That's a huge thing. That's so exciting.
Trin and I knew it was a huge thing. That's why we were both doing this head bobby shoulder dance.
I didn't realize we were doing the same thing. Okay.
Oh. You didn't? I thought we were...
Your tiny little boxes on my screen. I could barely see any of you. I mostly just look at myself when we're doing this.
In honor of our year anniversary, we have some new perks. It's possible to summon forth a vision from NPCs past as kind of an anniversary edition. And then we also still have the news reporter there if you want them.
If people choose NPC vision from the past, do they have a list of options of those NPCs, or is it incumbent upon them to remember who they want?
There is a list.
Cool, I'm excited.
Lisa sent it to me in advance, and I just skimmed it, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that sounds good. So I don't even really remember who might show up.
Yeah.
It's been so strong recently. I don't think you really need to worry about it.
You cut out a little bit, but I feel like maybe that was a dig at my accent work. Is that what you said?
Correct, yes, correct.
Okay, good. Just making sure we got that.
Yeah, you got it. It was clear.
All right, that's it from me. Democracy Corner, Trin?
Yeah, we'll do a quick little one today.
Take it away.
All right. Welcome back to Democracy Corner, y'all. I would just like to say that what I'm going to talk about today, I don't know very much about. And that's kind of what I want to talk about is I think a lot of this past year has been part of my personal growth has been realizing where the gaps in my knowledge and understanding are and trying to address them. And definitely one of those gaps is an understanding of what's happening between the Palestinians and the Israelis. I did not grow up in a culture or educational background where I learned much about what was going on over there. And that's something that I'm seeking to educate myself on. And so I'm going to kind of turn it over to y'all in chat. And if you have resources that you would like to share about what's going on there that you have found to be informative and helpful, I'm also going to include a link to a friend of mine who wrote a really great post about the things that you can look for to be critical thinkers when you are reading about what's going on over there, so that we're not just swallowing propaganda and repurposing it. And I appreciate you all being on this journey with me as we continue to find our own gaps in understanding and seek to fix them. So I'm going to drop that link right there, and feel free to share information and links of your own, and thank you so much. Boop.
Thank you, Trin.
Thanks, Trin.
With that, if we could just let the recap roll.
If I figure out a way to kill myself before you can do this, I will. And I start looking around for anything, and then I just run full speed right into the void wall.
You see that Rex is only eating vegetables, and she picks up a big floret of broccoli, and she's kind of gnawing on it like it's a turkey leg, and she just goes, "Oh hey, Summoner Kosei."
Wait a minute. So you had something weird happen with your touch with Gilvia, right?
That was different.
Sometimes you can stand, but sometimes you got to be on all fours and just sort of like shimmy your way up and around to these peaks. And it's just a beautiful night sky above us. And it's so quiet. And then you can just kind of like slide down and slide in all directions across the roof.
As Sam is bringing the karate hands up and Rex is instinctively countering their position and Bryn steps forward to reveal, Tag, you stand to see a very familiar face. It catches you off guard because at first you're positive that you've just seen Violet. She says, "It's been a while, Tag. I'm very happy to see you." Blackout.
You, sir, are
You're muted.
1 year, man. We've literally been doing it.
Mark, before we get started, if you will just one last time play the pre-show donation for us, because it will inform how we start the show.
Hashtag storytime as discussed on Discord. Happy 1 year anniversary, y'all. It's been a thrilling trip thus far. I'm glad and honored to have met the people in and around this show, and it has carried through at a time when so many other things were gone to hell.
Oh,
From Merc, right?
thanks, Merc.
Thank you, Merc.
It's really sweet. It's very, very sweet.
Aw.
Yeah. So, in response to that wonderful little gift, the continuum burns bright, and from it flows all life and magic and everything that is good and blessed. There are other magics, of course, and these are anchored to the planets which orbit the continuum. You see them, floating through space. Bloom, fire, water, blight, void, lightning. Here there is life. From the outer reaches of the system, where no light can reach, you start to feel something. It's a hunger, mixed with resentment, grief, and rage. One by one, the planets wink out. Their magic is consumed. They disappear, all life thereon extinguished. Soon, only the fire planet remains. As this hunger closes in, as the fire is consumed, you reach out and grab a hold of it. In your hand, you hold the fire. In your hand is the hand of another. When you look up, you see a face, vaguely familiar to you, a picture you've only seen in some of Violet's files. This is the daughter of the fire summoner. The sight of her calms you for just a moment, and then that hunger rears again, threatening to swallow her up. But she clings to you, and you don't let her fall into the abyss, the darkness which has now swallowed all of the planets in the continuum itself. This young woman is the last light, and only with your help can she hold the darkness at bay. And then you wake up, Tag.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to fast forward just a little bit. Tag, it's only been a few days since Violet failed her final tests to become a parallel. She's been a mess and told you the parallel elders have been working as quickly as possible to line up someone else to take her place and fly to meet the heir of the fire world. You knock politely on the parallel master's door.
Okay.
When he opens it, you see he's hosting several of the elders. In there is Gas, the head chef, Sir Drake, the highfalutin English-speaking gentleman who's an adventurer of sorts, and Toman, one of the teachers of the more advanced classes. They sit around his fire and sip tea. "Come in, Tag," Fitzroy Montgo says. "You look as though you've just seen a ghost."
That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not really having much luck at the infirmary, and I know that this is a little unconventional. I really just want to know what's happening with Violet, if she's okay, and what happens. I have not been formally punished yet, but I just wanted to say that if well, that it is my fault, and whatever, I can be gone as early as yeah. How is she?
Violet is having difficulty coming to terms with the fact that up until this point, her life has been dedicated to a position she will never fill.
Right. Well, I guess that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about it. Like you said, her whole life being dedicated to a position that maybe she will now never fill. I think that the test that needs to be disqualified. I shouldn't have been there, and I was there. I don't know what that's going to do, but that's not normal. That's not what these tests are made for. It's unfair to her. It was not. I mean, she didn't fail the test. The test wasn't what the test was supposed to be. There's got to be a way to put her back in that position. I mean, that is her. You said it. She's been training her whole life.
These tests are created to fit those who are to be tested.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Violet's experience in the chamber was tailored to suit her needs and test her shortcomings. She's had experience and difficulty therein with learning to speak through the psychic bond all parallels use to communicate with their summoners.
Well, yes, she had trouble because I karate chop her psychic bond with my psychic bond. That's not, how often are you going to run into that in the field? I mean, that doesn't tell you much.
Tag, we assumed you would perhaps try to observe and, on a slim chance, intervene. It was up to Violet to take control of the situation.
Okay, so it sounds like less of a test, more a trick.
No.
What? And why don't you just say that? Why don't you just say, we're tricking everybody, and you get one chance, and if you mess it up, what is the point of school? What is the point of training if not to make mistakes and learn from them? Right?
Yes, but
am I right? You don't get it right on the first time. You taste it. You figure out what it's missing. If it's salt, if it's a little spice, if it's a little punch of acid, and then on the next time you cook it better.
Tag, what you're saying is true, but Violet had reached a point in this program in which she is expected to be able to, at the very least, carry out the bare minimum of her duties. She was to ship off within a matter of days to meet with her summoner.
So you guys should have done, like, if she's going to ship off in a matter of days, how have you constructed a program whereby one final test is going to completely disqualify her? I understand she failed the program. Maybe the program is stupid.
We anticipated that she would succeed, Tag.
Okay, well then you clearly had faith, and for a reason. So it's just, I think it's really important that Violet do what Violet is clearly supposed to do.
You were in that chamber, and you felt the event which unfolded.
Yeah.
multiple timelines were presented.
Yeah.
There are very few who can reach in and interact with the fabric of time.
Okay.
It was an incredibly powerful event, one that we did not anticipate.
Right. Power. Yep.
But we have traditions tag.
Okay. Sorry. I just think it would be ideal if Violet could go, because if Violet doesn't go, I'm pretty sure that I have to go.
Everybody in the room who's just kind of been uncomfortably sipping their tea as you've been having this heated discussion, quiets. And now everybody is looking at you. And Fitzroy says, "What do you mean?"
I mean that if Violet is not the parallel to the heir apparent of the fire summoner, then I think I have to be it, and I don't want to be it, and I shouldn't be it, and I'm wildly ill qualified to be it. But I think that I have to.
You've seen something.
Yeah.
What have you seen, Tag?
I mean, I don't want to sound too big-headed, but the future.
It was you in Violet's training session who created that psychic event, was it not?
Created. What?
You revealed multiple timelines through your connection to Violet.
Words like I'm just scrolling through a Rolodex of things that I want to do. Like, oh, in the morning I'll make a little smoothie to start my day, and then I'll create multiple timelines.
A fire does not choose to burn, Tag, yet it burns all the same. A fire does not choose to get out of control, yet it does.
Yes?
You, through your intervention and your connection to Violet, disrupted our very timeline long enough to reveal alternatives, and then, through your inaction, allowed a different moment to pass.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did a thing, and I didn't mean to do the thing. I don't know how I did the thing. It's really, you want to, it seemed like the thing did me. The thing did to me, okay? And I was just there, and
that is a very apt description.
Okay. It's
Perhaps
not like
you wield a powerful ability that is outside your grasp, and until you learn to control it, the thing might continue to do you.
Yes. Which is why Violet should be the summoner's parallel, so that it's not me. Because I'm pretty sure that I'm not ready.
Violet is disqualified from being the fire summoner's parallel.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what you're saying? A timeline has been fractured. The future that we could count on these traditions to provide for us is null and void. You have to improvise in this situation.
You are correct. But Violet is not disqualified because of the tradition. Violet is disqualified because of the fracture in her brain, the trouble she was already having maintaining a connection. She cannot be allowed to connect to a fire summoner. Perhaps if it was water, perhaps if it was void, but not to a fire summoner. With that kind of instability, the chances of things getting out of control when tapping into the magic is almost guaranteed. Violet would not only be unable to restrain a fire summoner's natural chaos, she, in all likelihood, would end up amplifying it through the nature of her powers.
Okay. You could have just said it would be really bad.
It's important that you understand these traditions are for a reason, that they are not just traditions for tradition's sake. This is from eons of study, of work, of understanding. Magic is beyond us in so many ways, but we have learned some small pieces of it. And
Okay,
through
then
that,
explain
our
this.
ability to control it. We have 2 days to choose a new summoner, to choose a new parallel for the fire summoner.
No, you don't. It has to be me. I don't know why. It's like, whatever you want to call it, these psychic participants. You know, my whole life, it's like being in a library, and I've been able to hear hushed snippets of conversation as if passing right by me. And after a few days ago, it's like I'm being screamed at constantly. I keep my eyes open for as long as I can because I know when I close them, I'm going to see the same thing. I'm going to see fire. I'm going to see myself in the fire. I'm going to see myself out of the fire. I'm going to be the fire. I'm going to hold the fire. I'm going to be thrown from the fire. I don't know.
Vision.
It is not a premonition. It is not a hint of what's to come. It is the most violent consumption I have ever experienced with it. It is inescapable. It feels like I'm almost literally playing this game of warm or colder, and whenever I try to run from it, whenever I try to turn from it, it just starts burning inside me. All I can do is walk towards this fire, which ironically is the only thing that makes the burning stop. I don't know your traditions. I don't know the rituals. I don't know how stuff is chosen. I know how to serve dinner, how to clean up after it. I know how to launder your clothes so they don't shrink or get miscolored. I know to hold them so they take up the least amount of space. I don't know the parallel stuff, but I am certain of this.
You can see that he is interested but not convinced. And I think for the first time for tag, roll tune in.
10.
All right. So, you can attune your mind to them. On a 10 plus, you get to hold 3, and you can realign your target's thoughts. What would you like to do?
Well, this is interesting, just stepping out of the game for a second, because Tag actually doesn't want to be the parallel. I want to I'm going to spend all 3 to expand the scope of the success. So not three questions or 3 tune-ins, just one that hits everybody. I'm going to just give them that feeling, show them that whatever we want to call it, vision, sense, premonition, whatever.
Okay. You can see them recoil from it. It happens rather quickly. And then Fitzroy, looks at you, Tag, and he says, "Go and choose your weapon, Parallel. We will see you in the morning."
Oh, sorry, no, you misunderstood. I was just trying to show you that the other option was going to be me, and I thought you guys would realize that was a pretty bad alternative, and you'd stick with Violet, because I think I look at everybody. Sir Drake, you see me after hours. What's my weapon going to be? A broom to come sweep up the gymnasium? What is this? What is this weird? What is this? Is this the silent treatment? What's happening?
Tag, go and choose your weapon.
No, it has to be me. And it can't be... It... And I think Tag just opens his mouth to make one final plea for any other alternative, and then closes it and makes a small nod of the head and turns around and leaves.
The last moment we see is Tag opening the door, and standing on the other side, her hand held up, ready to knock, is Violet. And you just see her face fall. As we transition to the gymnasium. After a rather pleasant gathering on the roof, you've come to the gymnasium to investigate the door that was left open. It's dark in here. From out of the shadows, several figures have emerged. The first of which, Tag, you could have sworn was Violet, until you realized her face was painted like a skull. Several others drip down the areoless silks nearby. Others rise up out of the sand and water nearby. Their faces painted to resemble unique and intricate skulls which glow in the dark. They wield a variety of martial weapons: swords, bows, glaives, and staffs. Tag, these are all the weapons you would have seen when you went to go choose yours.
Just in case it's relevant, I want to let you know that I have leveled up and that I chose Berserk.
What is that?
That sounds cool as hell. What is that?
Just in case that's relevant in what happens in the next 5 minutes. No matter how much harm you take, you can always keep going until the current fight is over. During a fight, the Keeper may not use harm moves on you, and you cannot die. When the fight ends, all harm takes effect as normal.
Okay, so you can't die immediately. Okay, very cool, very rare.
And I presume do not become unconscious.
Yeah, that is. I think to me the way that reads is during the fight you are invincible, and then as soon as the fight is over, it all hits
Invincible.
Just stop listening after Invincible. Yep, indestructible.
This skull-faced figure is standing right in front of you, Tag. They have a bladed tonfa on their arm, and they've just said, "Tag, it's been a while." And then they punch you in the face, and you take 2 harm physical.
Hey,
Sam,
that's
it
my
is your
job.
turn. What would you like to do?
Bypasses my
Not if you have armor. No, it's just 2 harm physical. It's just a punch to the jaw. A rather mighty one. Sam, what would you like to do?
Well, that seems uncalled for, and it seems like diplomacy maybe not an option. So, actually, I will just help Tag up and presume I don't know the nuance of this particular situation, and if it seems that there is escalating danger, I'll respond to that.
Okay. The others who have been kind of rising have now circled around you, and you just see these glowing, skull-faced kind of ninjas. They all have their weapons leveled at the group. They're kind of watching this first, their leader, to see what happens next. Rex, it is your turn.
I think there is a reactionary push backwards of the person who threw the punch. And I'm not necessarily trying to take them down, but just a like, hey, get the fuck off my dude over here.
Sure. Roll plus strength.
That is a 9.
You push her, and she stumbles back because she seems to be rather focused on Tag, but one of the others steps forward with a staff. Let's just give a number to the amount of these people that are here. We're going to say 8 of them. Yeah. And the one with the staff smacks you across the back and shoulder, Rex,
Rude.
dealing 3 harm, physical only.
Rude.
Bryn.
You
Um,
muted? Oh, yeah.
Yes, I was. I am going to pull out my staff and conjure fire with it, but let it just kind of sit on my staff. And I'm going to say, look at the one that just hit Rex and say, you need to state your intentions real fast.
They say, death to those who aid the usurper.
And who is the usurper?
I kind of laugh at the language a little bit.
They yell it. They sound way cooler than me when they do it. And they roll plus magic, Bryn, to have fire at the ready.
Oh,
This will
okay.
allow you to just use it your next turn if you choose, but you have to roll plus magic. This will start to accrue your the next time you use magic, it'll be a -1. But for now, it's regular.
Okay, 7.
Okay, cool. Give me a glitch.
Oh no. Where are my glitches?
It's on the use magic page. The effect is weakened. The effect is of short duration. You take harm. It draws immediate unwelcome attention or has a problematic side effect.
It draws unwelcome attention.
All right, there is someone standing off to your left, Bryn, with nunchucks, and they swing and hit you with those nunchucks, dealing 3 harm physical, but you still have fire sitting on the tip of your staff. This would have happened after you exchanged words.
It's very rude what's happening.
Yeah, we're also responding exceptionally non-violently as they continue to like beat us. We're like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
I see it as like a
We're
standoff
an entire,
situation.
like city block of people, so I think I understand our hesitation about wanting to just like
Oh yeah,
completely dismember these folks.
Yeah,
No,
it's also
I'm not
a
ridiculing
situation.
anyone's choices at all. I get it.
They're like just around you, kind of holding you at bay. And so besides the one in the front that just punched Tag, it was like Rex pushed somebody, so they slapped you. And then Bryn made fire, so they hit her with nunchucks. It's just like very reactionary. Everybody's kind of like, it's like the hammer fight in Old Boy, where they're just like, all right, Tag, it's your turn.
Oh, yeah, and I think that that's a valid question. Who the fuck's the usurper?
Steve Irwin, you're here to serve him, aren't you?
What? No. Why would you think that we're here to serve him?
Why else would you be here?
I mean, we can get into that if you want, but no, I don't know Steve Irwin.
Everybody seems kind of like uncertain of what's happening now. And the one in front pulls their hood down, and you can see that this is, in fact, Violet. Tag. The hair gives it away. She just has this skull face painted on her. And she says, Tag,
I?
Yes.
Wait, you knew it was me?
Yes.
I didn't know it was you.
Your face isn't painted like a skull.
Okay, well, I didn't expect it. You punched me.
We cannot allow Steve Irwin to get any more help.
Okay, cool. I think we're on the same page. I really, look, not to critique your organizational strategy, but you seem to have a very specific mission. Where was the recon that went in? We're not with Steve.
Roll plus charm to manipulate someone. I don't think manipulate's the right word, but I am going to just make you do a charm check here.
12.
Okay. She believes you. She believes you. She puts her hands up, and everybody who's got their weapons lowers them, but none of them put the weapons away. And she says, Tag, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm here because, man, this is actually a little awkward. Violet, Bryn, Violet.
Violet bows, and so does everyone else. And they say, Summoner, we meant no offense. It's just if you had aligned yourself with the usurper, you would have lost title in our eyes.
And my
I
back
go-
hurts real bad, FYI. Thanks for the nunchucks.
Yeah, I helped Bryn to her feet.
Just so we're clear, Philip acted on his own. I never would have hit you with nunchucks.
Wait, is that Vi saying that?
Yeah.
But who did? What about punching me in the face? What about that part? That's fine. That's fine.
I give an extra strong glare to Philip, like,
He's still got his nunchucks out, but he's the only one in the group that like tucks them into his belt and just goes to stand off by the weights.
it's fucking right.
They offer you. Vi says, we cannot stay here. I realize that you are expected to, but if you could spare us just a small amount of time, perhaps we could exchange information.
Yeah.
You'll need to come with us.
I just trying to get to look at the group, to my group real quick and kind of assess their feelings.
She just punched you in the face. Are you sure you want to go somewhere with her?
Yeah, I trust her implicitly.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sam, Rex, Violet, Violet's my best friend. I kind of ruined her life. These are my new friends.
The punch in the face makes more sense now.
She nods and says hello to everyone. She says, I will introduce us in a moment. And she actually leads you guys out of the gymnasium and locks the door behind and leads you through the grounds out towards some of the woods on the edge of the property. They walk in silence, and they give you the impression that they expect you to be as stealthy as they are. And they take you out into the woods, and then about an hour out into the woods, you go pretty far out into what becomes just like dense forest.
I didn't bring enough snacks for this.
It was real shady.
But after about an hour, they come to what looks like a small, like temporary encampment. There's just a lot of like packs of stuff, and she says we left our long packs here for this mission. We were going to return and then head back to camp. But I think that we are safe here to discuss.
I'm sorry, what was the mission again? Just punch Tag in the face?
We were going to kill all of you.
Oh, okay, sure.
You are going to
Definitely.
try to kill all of us.
Fair. I realize that we may have been outmatched, but we did not have a choice. We were going to try and kill all of you.
We could have been anybody. Like you're just looking to kill everybody on this moon?
No. We were looking to kill an active parallel and the heir to the fire planet.
Wait,
The
that,
other two.
that is us.
That is us.
That is us.
So
That's what I mean. We came here specifically to kill you.
nice.
How-
Welcome, Silva Celesso. Jeez.
We have a few members who are still in the monastery and able to deliver us information. When we heard that you landed, we assumed that you were allying yourself with the usurper, and we felt we didn't have a choice.
You don't want to like just be like, hey, just let me double check before we kill you. Are you allying yourself with the usurper?
Tag, I wouldn't have believed you when you told me that you weren't, but for some reason I do. I don't know how to explain it. We're in a position right now where we don't have the luxury of time or questions or
Sorry,
for
no,
consideration.
no. You're going to need to explain a little bit more than that if you were just going to murder two people that I've spent the last year with.
That's fair. I will say.
Try and murder.
Yes, absolutely try it. I mean, ow, I have a cut right here. So, good job. You might have done some damage, but you were all going to die if you tried that.
That is correct.
I'm just curious as to what you think is worth dying really horrible deaths for, because I would not have made it pretty or swift.
She would not have.
I will answer what questions I can. We do not have all the information that we wish we did. And we're acting on pieces and parts of what we've been able to gather, but my fellows and I, and there are more, were exiled by Steve Irwin for refusing to go along with his agenda. Any who resisted his unlawful takeover of the parallel order were sent into the wilderness to suffer the same fate as he, and we have been living in the wilds of this moon ever since. We know that he is gathering power, and we know that he is doing what he can to influence the Summoner Council to aid him, and we know that what he's trying to do is very dangerous.
What are you trying to do?
He is trying to upset the balance of the continuum system. He is trying to dismantle... I feel foolish saying it because in theory it's such a fun thing. The status quo.
I guess if the danger is that he's going to disrupt the status quo, how is the solution, which as I understand it is kill the summoners, a mitigating response?
Seems pretty disruptive.
Yeah, that seems. I would offer far. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
If you were already working towards his agenda, there's nothing we could do to sway you.
Really? How do you know?
Because of what happened to...
This sounds newsworthy. #newsflash.
Oh my goodness! That's from Thing. Thanks, Thing.
Thank you, Thing. Yeah, we're gonna get the reporter on your guys' way back to the monastery. Do not let me forget. It'll be after this scene. I just feel like we have to... I'm having trouble being clear with character motivation, so I'm trying to be better in this scene. I don't want to disrupt it with the reporter.
I don't know.
Violet says, allow me to explain what I know. A long time ago before us, Tag, Steve Irwin was exiled because he sought to undermine the traditions and the doings of the Parallel Order, and he sought to tear it all down and build it back up in a new image, that one of equality, in which the Parallels no longer serve the Summoners but work together in tandem. What we learned upon his return from exile, one that was not anticipated or sanctioned, is that he has since gone past equality into... He believes that this event that has locked all of the planets inside these bubbles of magic, that has released this corruption into the continuum system, he believes it's all tied to... It's not a prophecy, but it's just there are teachings of the original Summoner Council, and on that they made a decision at the very beginning of how things had to be, and they paid a price for that. And Steve Irwin believes that the Summoners betrayed the continuum system, and this is the check needing to be paid. And so Steve Irwin believes that only by overthrowing the Summoner Council and dismantling the Parallel Order will we be able to free ourselves from this catastrophe which is rolling across the system. He no longer believes that Parallels should serve Summoners. He no longer believes that Summoners should be in control. And he believes the Order of both should be dismantled, because we can no longer be trusted and we have betrayed the system. He wants to burn it all down.
It just seems like... I disagree too, don't get me wrong. I do disagree, but it just seems like assassinating the Summoners is...
Counterintuitive.
True, yeah. It's like... I feel like that's trying to like... kill a fly with a shotgun.
Perhaps. But there are maybe 40 of us, 25, 30 that are capable of fighting, and we are living off of tree bark and stream water in the middle of the woods, and we have nothing and no one to come here and help us. We have no way off planet. We have no way of getting news from off planet since we've been exiled, and the only thing that we've watched is Steve Irwin gather Summoners here, either to convert them to his thinking, or, as he did with the Water Summoner, we believe he tried to bond with her, and when it didn't work, we haven't seen her since. So I don't know.
What is his explanation for her disappearance?
He doesn't need one. He doesn't answer to anyone.
Why haven't you gone after Steve Irwin?
We've tried. He's very powerful.
I need to get this information to my mother.
Listen, I'm not saying that I agree with his aims, but you don't think this is an unjust system?
In what way?
What's so terrible about Parallels and Summoners being collaborators?
I don't mind that. That is not what we're trying to prevent. He's in his exile has grown past that belief and thinks it is no longer worthy. Those decisions were made long before Tag or I were born. I'm not fighting to protect the Parallel Order. I'm fighting to stop Steve Irwin.
He did seem kind of weird when I talked to him.
Right?
Super weird.
Super weird.
Weird dude.
Do you know anything about Gilvia, the company made Summoner? Just Did she get a parallel?
We have not heard of this person, but if there is a summoner outside of the traditional line, and Steve Irwin is seeking to bond with someone,
She's very powerful.
I just will apologize for our actions, but I do wish to communicate the stakes here. Bryn, Summoner Cosaint.
You can call me Bryn.
Bryn, how would you say your relationship to magic was before you were bonded with Tag?
Strong still, but chaotic. Not as focused. As soon as I bonded with Tag, it was kind of like having a funnel of sorts. Like, it was a very focused ability. It kind of just made everything a little bit sharper. And he opened me up to the phase state, I believe.
And Tag, before you were bonded to Bryn, your powers?
I mean, you were there. Untrained. Fuzzy.
But together?
We're a fucking kick-ass crime-fighting team.
Like, the best. You don't mess with us.
Double dragons.
Mhm.
So a young summoner who's just learning magic and a brand new parallel who's never received any training, you are heretofore unstoppable?
Heretofore.
So far.
Yeah.
Steve Irwin has been trained in the ways of the parallel since he was a child, and he has spent the last several decades in exile perfecting his abilities.
But I thought, why would he want to bond with Gilvia? I thought you said his whole thing was to put an end to parallels and summoners. What?
I do not believe he sees himself as part of the resolution period to his plan.
What?
What?
The world that he is making does not have a place for him. I do not think he anticipates being there when the new world is born. He will bond with the summoner to amplify his power and use them to do what he sees necessary. And if they are an asset of the company,
You saying he's gonna make himself like a human bomb?
I don't know. I just mean more that he's willing to do whatever is necessary, and I don't think that he's concerned with the cost.
Look, he would have figured this out anyway, but I did tell him that Gilvia was extremely powerful.
That's not your fault, Rex.
He was sneaky. He was tricksy. But, I mean, he would have figured it out anyway. He's sneaky and tricksy.
Okay, so we just have to stop Steve Irwin.
We have been trying. He has so far proved difficult. I just have a name of a contact for you that I'm trying to find. It's that person, Sam, who gave you the letter that said, like, library.
Yeah. I have it written down. Torcan.
If you stay here much longer, your absence will be suspicious, and we do not wish for you to pay for that. Torcan in the monastery can get us any messages that you wish to send. I do not like what we've become. And seeing you here and talking to you and knowing that we have you on our side has perhaps forced me to reevaluate our position. We can aid you, but if it is your desire to stop Steve Irwin, perhaps it's best we leave you to it. We will not interfere, and we will do what we can from outside, but we have very little influence inside the monastery.
Look, Vi, just talk to me. Talk to me for a second as a friend, not as a revolutionary leader. If you tell me that he's bad, I believe you. If you tell me we need to stop him, I trust you and I'll do anything I can. I don't want to be condescending. I don't feel like I belong in this role still, even now a year later. It feels it's never felt good to me that I am here and you are not. But Tag looks to Bryn. Bryn, I think you're going to be a kick-ass summoner. I think you're the freaking coolest. How do I put this? Just as a thought exercise, consolidating all of the power in the universe into 6 magical families, feels like a flawed system. So, someone who wants to talk about how and why we might need to evolve past that, just at the offset, they do have my ear. Now, I don't know what he's doing or how he's doing it, and again, if you tell me he's bad news, Vi, I love you, I trust you. But I'm not sold without that. I don't know. I mean, you got to see it where we're coming from. It.
I tried to, Tag, and personally, I believe that the Parallel Order betrayed Steve Irwin. I think that he is a monster of their making. To send a man into exile for simply bringing up the question of equality between those who have and those who have not, I would not have made that decision. I do not fight him because I disagree with his... I believe that they have evolved since, but his original core tenets, I do not disagree with any of that. I do not disagree that we should reevaluate the structure of the Parallel Order, but the reason my fellows and I separated from him is because we were beginning training to do raids. And they were using the gymnasium to teach us how to fight in different conditions. And I believe he was going to move against the summoner houses once all of the living summoners are here and they haven't replaced those who have been gone. If he were able to bond with any of them on the council, he could use that leverage. But he was training us to go and... I don't know. We fight him, we don't fight his ideas. We fight his methods.
Yeah. Look, again, you say jump, I'm going to say like this or like this. I'm trying, but it's kind of a tough time for everybody. I'm trying.
I know.
Okay. Well, we'll head back.
Okay.
I would like to walk up next to Philip.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, you punched the wrong lady. And then I punch him in the side of his head.
Okay.
Good.
Just roll plus strength.
That's an 11.
He just falls over. And Violet says, pick Pick yourself up, Philip. You're fucking embarrassing.
One of the things that I think happens here is that Sam ends up hitting him much harder than he anticipated he was even capable of. Normally, he thinks about himself in like the alleyway when he punched that thug who had like cornered him, and it was like one of those like, and it just like he was like, oh no, that's bad. And this is like a massive, like totally unbecoming of Sam type blow that is just way more powerful than it should be. In the range
Yeah,
of,
we'll say that.
yeah.
We'll say that he doesn't just fall over. He kind of like.
And just in terms of pure mechanics, it's a 3 harm strike.
Okay. You can see that he's like concussed, I think.
Oh, sorry about that. I mean, I did mean that, but not to that. Okay, great.
And I turn around and see it, and I just am like, and then I keep walking.
Okay.
Can we heal?
Yeah, you have like an hour walk through the woods, so you are
Okay.
welcome to heal.
Thanks.
I believe it takes some rolling, and that it ain't free.
Oh, wait, I'm doing magic on myself? Nobody has a healing
It's up
pack?
to you, man. You got a spell called heal.
Sure.
I can try again.
Oh, yeah! Okay.
I don't want to do it around anybody else. I'm still trying to keep that kind of under wraps from like the general public. It's, if they're out on a witch hunt against summoners and parallels, I'm not really trying to add myself to the docket more so than the uppercut that Philip got. So, all right, I'll make a little healing roll here. Oh wow, that's like a 14.
Yeah, that'll work. Do you?
It heals 2 harm.
Okay.
2 harm? Okay.
2 harm.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, unless above 14, I get a bonus thing, right? If it's is that a?
I think we should. Add
yeah,
that
and I'm
it's
gonna let
already
you
part of the rules.
color it. So here's the thing the way that some of these works is as part of leveling up in Monster of the Week, you can add an advanced to certain moves. In this case, I will allow it. Sam, how do you want to flavor it?
I think the idea would be that sometimes there is like an emotional residue left over from physical violence that can persist for much longer than the actual wound. And I think the healing, this lay on hands dissolves that in any sort of like lingering emotional impact of it. It dissolves the whole thing. So I think even though the wound isn't completely healed, any sort of animosity or internal pain from it is dissipated.
Okay.
That's lovely. I really like that.
That's cool. As you guys are led out of the woods, all of these skull-faced people, they're all parallels tag. Once you were in that little thing, you could see that they were all of the parallels that were missing from the bunkhouse, that were not present in the monastery. They all kind of, 20 yards back from the woods stop, but they've led you safely back to the monastery. And as you exit the woods, you can see the door to the gymnasium again. And you actually see a little bit of a light flashing around outside, and there's somebody holding something with a light on it, and then somebody else in front trying to use that light to see through the window. What would you like to do?
Investigate.
If we're just quiet, then nothing bad can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to be, as you see them better, the person that's holding the light, you can see that it's actually some kind of recording device, like a video camera. And the person that's looking through the windows has something in their hand that's connected on a string to it, and they're just kind of like peeking around, and you can kind of hear them saying like, "I could have sworn there was somebody in here. We could. Do you think that we should just go in?" Yeah, and they're just like kind of like talking back and forth. Look,
I'm just gonna try and sneak up on them and see what's going on.
roll plus dex.
Ah, damn it. I always forget that's my bad one.
Yes.
I am like a lumbering brontosaurus through the woods.
Yeah.
That's my
so
favorite dinosaur.
The lumbering
They're a really good dinosaur.
They're the
One of my
giraffe of
favorites.
dinosaurs.
As you come out of the woods, I think that you snap a stick so both people turn to you and the light hits you just as
I
you
knock a
trip.
tree over. That's how
Yeah.
badly I failed this roll.
You trip and fall and hit a tree, and the tree falls over and knocks over another tree, and you just lay there like in America's Funniest Home Videos. And they say, you hear the person holding what now you can see the microphone go, "Tell me you got that." The camera guy goes, "I'm always rolling." And he goes, excuse me. Ichabod Isildur here with VJTV. If we could just get a few words. Were you just in the gymnasium?
And I'm just picking twigs out of my mouth and out of my hair. And
They've
it's
like
just-
run up. You've got a camera in your face as you're getting these out. And they're like, Rex, what is your last name?
Leonine.
Rex Leonine. Am I correct? Rex Leonine? We saw your name on the manifest from that company, Transport. Can I get a few words?
Yeah. Go away.
Excellent. You live up to your reputation. So, tell me, what are you doing here on Silva Celesso at the Summoner Council? And they keep pointing the microphone to you.
I'm just here to have a good time.
Aren't we all? So, Rex, what do you think of the new parallel leader, Steve Irwin?
I think he is a real interesting fellow, and I can't wait to get to know him more. The company is very excited to continue this burgeoning relationship and shore up the bonds between the company and the parallels and the summoners, so we can all synergistically work together towards a more prosperous future.
You heard it, folks. True humanitarian here with Rex Leonine. Are those your friends there back in the bush, sneaking through
What?
the wilderness?
Who? Animals. I think there's some cougars, maybe some bears back there. It was just me.
What-
That's why I fell down. You know, it's not that I was scared. There was a lot of wildlife that I was running from, and I'm trying to protect animals rather than kill them. So that's what happened.
What are you cougars and bears doing back there?
I think that we might need a little help to see what happened in the distant past. It's not like Point 5 Dad has been terribly forthcoming #visions.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh, that is from Merc. Thank you, Merc.
Thank you, Merc. Who's being summoned?
I assume half dad? Maybe not. I actually don't know.
This is the NPC cameo summoning perk.
I believe so.
It's
Yeah,
random, I
yeah.
thought.
Half
it's
dead.
random. No, she said she thought it was random. I think you can.
Hmm.
Do we want to give Jesse that much power to choose?
Yes,
or-
let Merc pick and drop it into chat, and we'll do that scene next. I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
pick.
yeah. Merc, you get a pick.
What are you cougars and lions and bears doing back there in the woods?
We're like this. Blending. We're blending.
Okay. Are you trying to hide from the flashlight that's now being shown on you?
Yes.
All right. Everybody who wants to hide, roll dex.
Merc says Barik. She wants a scene with Barik.
Mm.
Ooh.
Oh wow!
Everyone rolled Dex. Okay.
Yeah, not good. Love it.
7.
That's a 7
Sometimes
for
it's really
me.
hard to tell your oh wows, Connor, if they are positive or negative.
They are. This one was negative.
Okay.
Like massively negative. I think that's maybe where the ambiguity.
You have 4 plus 1s in the bank.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like this failure could lead to a bit of comedy, and it would take most of those to level this up, and I myself would like to gain some experience.
Okay. So Bryn and Sam, you're able to just duck behind some bushes. In an attempt to jump behind a tree, Tag trips over one of the trees Rex knocks over and stumbles out next to her and goes, "Oh, wow! One of the parallels themselves! Tag, how are ya? Welcome to VJTV. A couple questions for you.
Okay.
Can you care to tell us what you're doing here on Silva Celesso at the Summoner Council?"
I'm from here, so just visiting the old haunts. You know, trying to. What do I do with my hands?
You could just leave them down there at your side. So you're from Silva Celesso. That's got to be exciting. What's your favorite place to eat for all the viewers out there headed this way?
Well, there's a gelateria that's really nice.
Ooh, homemade gelato. What's your favorite flavor?
Pistachio.
You've got an eye for taste, or a taste for eyes. It's just a joke, referencing an unseen episode of VJTV. Anyways, Tag,
Yep.
what do you think of Steve Irwin?
Oh, who is watching this?
We broadcast to all planets. Currently, we cannot get to the lightning planet because it is still locked out, but everywhere that the barriers have dropped, we're coming in hot.
Oh well. Hey, Mom, if you exist, my name's Tag. It seems like the most efficient way. Maybe I could get into contact with you. I'm like about 22 years old. Dropped on Silva Celesso. My dad's memorable. So do you guys VJTV have like a callback number if someone maybe is
It's right there at the bottom of your screen, folks. If you can help Tag find his long-lost mother, call the number at the bottom of the screen. Don't we want to see that reunion? Tag,
Yeah.
if you could say one thing to your long-lost mother, what would it be?
Hi.
There you have it, folks. Well, we'll be staying at the monastery for the duration of the Summoner Council, and we look forward to checking in with you. And that's a cut. All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, great job. See you later. And they just pack it up and walk back towards the monastery. While this is happening, Bryn, you get a strange, and Sam too, as of lately, the two of you get a strange prickling sensation. And you turn to look behind your hiding place in the bushes to see a glowing red spectral figure. And as they come into focus, you can see that it is Farik.
Oh God.
It's clear that he is spectral. He does not have solid form.
But oh no. Okay, I'm on guard though, because I sort of killed him.
Rex tries to punch him anyway.
You two are still in the. I think
No,
this is
right,
happening
we're not
during
there.
your
Right.
during your interview.
Sam gets his karate hands ready. They're
There'll be
more
no
powerful than they look.
I've been sent here, I think.
To
Reasons being?
I think that I will not be free from this half-existence until I in some way atone. I will offer you insight into your current quests, begrudgingly.
How's the afterlife?
Mine currently is quite dull. I seem to be trapped in some limbo state. From what I can gather, the spirits of those who pass are being interrupted from returning to the continuum because of whatever it is that's going on here. So me and several others, and by several others I mean hundreds, have been trapped in this limbo state. But I imagine it's pretty cool, and I'd like to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, I know we didn't part on the best terms, but you do look well rested.
Thank you.
Don't worry about Mother. She's
I'm not
totally
gonna-
fine.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely still feel pretty good about how that whole situation, panned out.
Yes, I imagine you do.
She
To
doesn't
the
cry over you at
victors.
all.
Yeah, it was like she kind of like just worked her way. It was almost like there was no grieving period at all. It was just kind of like, oh, Barrick's gone. Like, oh, there. Ooh. And she's like, great. I ordered mashed potatoes for everyone.
Are you trying to hurt me?
No, just sharing real facts.
Sorry, I singed your head off.
That's quite all right, Bryn. Now, if we could just get to it, that would be real nice for me.
Oh, by all means, by all means.
I will answer 3 questions for you. As of right now, until we get the hang of this whole spirit summoning thing, I'm not going to put any restrictions onto the content. But you may ask me 3 questions, and I will do my best to answer them. Can I ask you something while you think?
Sure.
Has your mother... I mean, just out of curiosity, of course. She hasn't, like, gotten a new parallel or anything, has she?
Oh, she does have an assistant who's very, very cute.
Mm-hmm.
And my laboratory and my work, did she continue?
She locked the room. No one's allowed to go in there.
Yes, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And the people, they speak of me on the Fire Planet?
They have a good time decorating the statue of you with food.
Oh, like offerings? Ancestral offerings? They put peeled
Yes.
mangoes and...
Pizza crusts and
Tomatoes.
A lot of very nutritious and calorie dense offerings creatively arranged on your visage.
Almost like target practice.
That last part doesn't seem to fit with all of the stuff you said leading up to it.
Well, they're in reverence of you, so they don't want to get too close. They just want to see if they can put the offering there without breaching the sanctuary. They want to give space to your bust.
So, if I'm to understand what you're saying, these people stand a short distance away from the statue of me, and then using pizza crusts and tomatoes, they throw them at the statue.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. You're taking the piss. Yes. It was a long con on that. But Barik caught up.
Okay, I have my first question.
Yes, please.
Is Steve Irwin working with anybody?
Hmm. What do you mean exactly? Like, what do you mean exactly? This is me asking as Jesse. I want to answer this question. I want to give you a worthy answer.
I want to make sure that he's not taking directions or under the influence of somebody else.
Gotcha. We spirits are in tune with some of the ethereal information that clings to these targets of destiny. From what I can gather is that Steve Irwin is just operating of his own accord, following tenets that he has created. But he is following in the footsteps of many who came before him.
If Steve Irwin is desirous of bonding with a summoner to execute his plan, which summoner would he be the most interested in forming that bond with?
Now, I believe it would be Amelia Bryn. Initially. I think if he was going to try and burn the world down, there's no better summoner than the one from the Fire Planet. But, while I cannot tell his exact plans, it seems as though that has changed. You get one more question from this magic genie, and then I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm gonna go haunt a lot of people on the Fire Planet.
What? Did you have something, Sam?
I mean, I do. I have a something, but if you have a something,
Go for it.
All right. Who? All right, guys, you can help me decide. Either I'm going to ask about who is Steve Irwin's most potent ally currently in the monastery, or any vulnerabilities that Steve Irwin might have. Which one do you guys think is going to be?
I was going to ask vulnerabilities personally.
All right, there we go.
Oh. Steve Irwin's magic relies primarily on psychic abilities. So, fortifying your defenses against those kinds of things could prove useful. Okay, I'm gonna go curse a statue and haunt your people. Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure to see you. And he disperses.
Toodles.
See ya.
All right, so you guys meet back up in the grass outside of the gymnasium. What would you like to do? So you've got some leads here. The monastery, as of right now, is going to be in kind of like everyone's asleep mode. So if you'd like to sneak into any parts of it, you may. If you want to start gathering information or moving against Steve Irwin or doing what you have. Tag, you've still got the key to that door. You've kind of got some options.
I definitely at some point would like to go to the library to meet with Torcan.
Sure, let's do that right now.
I think we need to research those early rituals that he's so keen on.
Okay, yeah, cool. You go to the library. Tag, what would the library at this monastery look like?
It's It's kind of like a really tall cross hatching. So there's the ground floor, and then the floor above it is just a grid of staircases, and it's not always a perfectly perpendicular grid. So you go up these spiral staircases on the side, and those it's just walkways lined with different books, and you can take all these different turns. And above that is another grid, and above that another, and above that another. So if you look up from the bottom, it's just layer upon layer upon layer of these crisscrossing walkways stacked with books.
That's really cool. What does this character tell me this? Torvak?
Torcan.
Torcan. Torcan is waiting. So you have to sneak through the monastery. There's no trouble. It seems like everybody's... it's kind of empty, and you can see now because like 40 of the people that were living there are now exiled to the woods. It seems that there are other people that have been referenced to be like training kind of like somewhere else, which might be in the kind of like raid training that Violet was saying that they didn't want to be a part of. And so there are some servants and stuff, but you're able to dip through these and make it to this library with these crosshatch books. And Torcan is at the top most. So Tag was talking about looking up and seeing all those books. Now you can look down and just see all of these books laid out below you. But Torcan is there waiting with a little lamp that's been kind of shuttered to just have a very specific beam. And they're waiting for you. And they say, "You came."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As, it was an unexpected invitation, so I couldn't resist.
I have already been informed by Violet that you've made contact. It was my intention to try and gather information about your party, seeing that you had not necessarily arrived knowing Steve Irwin was here. I thought that perhaps if I were able to reach out to you, I could warn you or even aid you in what you are trying to do here. I work behind the scenes for most of this, Tag. You would know that I am in many rooms, behind many tables, and so my ear is always to the ground, and I am the connection between the monastery and those still loyal to the original Parallel Order and its tenets, and Violet.
So you wanted to assist us, seeing that we were not necessarily aligned with Steve.
Yes.
Okay.
Violet.
Be too picky about things that have already happened, but maybe your first item of assistance could have been telling your friends not to murder us.
Yes, Violet informed me of the rather uncomfortable situation you all experienced in the gymnasium, and I do wish I could have prevented that, but speaking of these things in the open is not an option, and if Steve Irwin were to find out that I was a part of the Separatists, or any of my associates inside the walls were, they would no longer have information. I do regret that I was unable to stop that, but it sounds like nothing too bad happened.
Like yes.
Tell that to my ribs.
Are they still hurting?
Now, I can assist in whatever you might have in mind. If it's research, I can aid you. If it's finding your way through this place or obtaining any of the items here, I can also do that.
Psychic disruption.
Sure, yes.
And is there like a helmet that I can make that will protect him from reading my thoughts? I don't have magic.
Why don't you roll? We will use the Haven rules. And you can use here it is.
Preferably like a headband so that I can pretend it's just a new style that I'm working with.
As opposed to the full tinfoil cap.
Sure. Roll plus lore, you get a +1.
Oh. Let's see. I get a +1. What's my lore bonus? I just had that sheet opened. I think I actually do have a good lore bonus. So hang on. This might not be so sad. Yeah. All right. I'm going to use one of my +1s and turn that big old fail into a mixed success.
Thanks, chat.
Okay.
Thank you, chat.
Thank you, chat. Because it was not a full success, tell me the name of this character one more time.
Toucan Sam.
Torcan.
Torcan. I keep wanting to change it. Torcan. Torcan says, I think I know of an item in the armory. I will need a moment to procure it, but I can deliver it to you by morning. So as of morning, you will have a band that gives you +1 when resisting any psychic effects. And it will be a headband, and it can look however you'd like it to.
It looks cool.
Looks so cool.
Yes. It seems that Steve Irwin has shifted his plans. He tried to bond with the water summoner, and when that didn't work, she disappeared. And it seemed as though he would be trying to bond with the fire summoner since. But since your arrival and that of Gilvia Corgold, he is much more difficult to read.
Has he been trying to spend time with said Gilvia Corgold?
Indeed.
Do we know where her quarters are?
I can take you to them now.
Yes, please.
Okay. Tag, what would be the wing of the monastery where, like the summoners and guests would be housed?
There's a little chateau just sort of adjacent to right off the grounds. It's nestled. It's neither in the village nor directly in the monastery. It kind of straddles the line in between. And it's just a bit nicer. It's kind of fancier accommodations.
Sure. Torcan helps you sneak out of the monastery. I think that this night is going to be you guys like going and running around in the dark. And they take you to the chateau. And they're able to lead you to a place where you start to like go into the brush and look through windows and you're kind of trying to figure out where they are until you finally see a room with two people. There's a curtain hung, but you can see their silhouette through it. And you can very clearly, actually, Torcan is the first one to look up and then gasps. And as you approach the window and look through, you can see that the silhouette is very clearly of a woman sitting on a bench with her legs extended and a man kneeling before her and washing her feet.
Oh, shit. She said yes to the foot wash.
Well, what do we think? Is this an Operation Cockblock?
Yeah, we gotta. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, luckily we have a built-in alibi that can keep me innocent. But before I go, you guys should know that I think perhaps there maybe have been some joint outcome if the company could install someone that would help unmake the summoner power structure, because it would really allow the company to take far more control. So please forgive the clownish behavior you're about to witness in silhouette form. I just walk up to the door. Are there like any vases with flowers or anything like that around?
Oh yeah, this is like it was described as a chateau, so I see it as being quite swanky.
I grab the flowers out of the vase and like shake the water off and march right up and knock on the door without planning anything.
Okay, you see. Let's just redefine. I like this a lot, actually. So I'd like you to have a chance to succeed. So let's say that the shadow play that you were seeing was not of the foot washing, but of the preparation. If you remember when Tag first did this for Bryn, there was like a setting out of the things, and you're seeing that. And you guys watching from the window see the form on the floor turn around and go, "Who the hell was that?" And then march out of the room. Steve Irwin throws open the door and says, "Crikey, what are you doing here?"
Stephen, my lad, so excellent to see you. And I just walk right into the room. I just walk right past him as if it's totally normal for him to be there. Gilvia, I've longed for you these long hours. And I press the flowers forward and I walk forward and I offer them to her.
She stands and she takes the flowers. She doesn't seem all that uncomfortable, but she says, "Sam, these are wonderful, and I'm very flattered, but I'm kind of in the middle of something right now."
Excellent. Of course you are. Your mind was always one to be making machinations on the future. And it's so wonderful that you found such excellent company. I won't be but a minute before I journey forward again. I just had something I wanted to share with you before I move on.
She nods. Steve Irwin he's now standing kind of like leaning into the door jamb, watching this.
There are a great number of things that I admire about you. I admire your tenacity and your... I walk across the room again and just sit down on her bed, and I admire your openness in our relationship and how forthcoming you have always been when we are together. I stand up and I walk across the room again and kind of lean against the wall, like in front of Steve, facing her. I understand that there are a great number of ways that a person can express affection for another. For some, it is just the most, and I kind of tip my head back at Steve Irwin and say, some people express it through diabolical sex acts. Sometimes people do it through poetry. Who am I to judge the lascivious nature, the free expression of the most carnal desires that one might have, or the consequences of such behavior? I will always treasure our time together because I care about you as a person. And I turn and I march towards the door. Stephen? Good to see you.
And you?
Yes. And then I lean in and I'm like, be very, very careful. And then I walk out.
Okay. She wants to try and stop you. Is this something that you'll allow?
Yes, absolutely.
She says, "Sam, please. Come back here."
Okay. I walk back in.
She motions to Steve and says, "Steven, would you mind pouring us all a drink? I think we could use one." And he goes over to the cabinet and pours a drink and brings him back over. And she says, "Sam, I am flattered. But you should know that what's going on here has nothing to do with you and I. What's going on here with Steven, this is strictly business."
Oh, I am so sorry. I completely misinterpreted this whole this whole thing. Oh my gosh, Steve, here, come have a seat. I like sit him down, try to get him comfortable. I put down my glass, I just start rubbing his shoulders.
He's actually acting kind of, I think, kind of like silly during all this. I think it's all kind of funny to him. So he's like, I mean, he's been in the fucking desert for the last 5 years. So if you're rubbing his shoulders and you're confused about this whole thing, he seems to be pretty chill about it. He's letting it happen.
Gosh, this is just such crazy happenstance. I just take the wine, I just whatever the drink is, I just finish the whole thing. I'm like, bottoms up, guys. Joke's on us.
And she says, Sam, I'd love for us to spend more time together. As a matter of fact, I just, it seems Stephen here will be able to help me solidify my place on the Summoners Council and receive what every true summoner has to look forward to, which is a parallel.
Oh, that's great. That is fantastic. Congratulations. I walk over and I give her a hug.
She hugs you back. She says, thank you so much.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I feel like all summoners have parallels, and Steve is the guy. He's the guy, right?
He has some very interesting ideas. Yes.
Well, you guys are in business. I don't want to interrupt more than I already have. So I will let you guys get down to business in the middle of the night. And there's no reason why I should think that maybe you're just sparing my feelings, because everybody has business meetings in the middle of the night. I collapse on the bed, just kind of like wrap myself up in the blanket.
She sits down next to you and puts a hand on you, and she says, Sam, listen.
No, it's fine. And I like fling myself on the floor, tearing all the blankets off the bed.
She kneels down next to you and again puts a hand on you. She's being very patient. She doesn't even seem annoyed. And she just says, Sam, look, listen. That connection you felt, that was real. I want to spend more time with you. The reason this meeting is happening in the middle of the night is because, well, there's a good chance that some of the other summoners would look upon it with distaste. I simply wish to fulfill my duty to the company and achieve a seat on the Summoner Council. And if I have a parallel, one as powerful as Steve Irwin on my side, I think that they'll take me more seriously. He runs this monastery. His words carry weight.
You're right. I think that'll be very good for you. And I agree with you. It is wise to completely ignore the opinion of your peers before making such an important decision that's going to affect you and the company for the rest of your life.
They looked at me, Sam. They don't want me to be part of the council because they're afraid of change. But I am the future.
I agree with you. And that's why I respect the fact that someone with as much integrity as you would take a whole night to sleep on it before making this decision. Because if you just rush into these things, this is not even like a marriage. This is more important than a marriage. This is everything that you've been working towards this entire time. It is the crescendo to the symphony of your life.
All right, you can roll manipulate someone on this.
Okay, here we go. What do I add to that?
Plus charm.
That is a 12.
Okay. They'll do it for the reason you give them. If you ask too much, they'll tell you the minimum it would take for them to do it. Okay, you're right. This is everything that she's been working towards, and it is a big decision, but she's going to ask something of you. What would she want from you, Sam?
She wants something from me on a 12?
I don't think it's. I think it's just like she's going to trust you. So it's not like you're going to have to do a big sacrifice. It wouldn't take a big sacrifice. I think that she would just ask something of you to help her.
My discretion? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that she's going to ask that you don't tell anyone this and that you agree to meet her in her quarters, this place, tomorrow night. So that you guys can continue this conversation. But she asks that it be private, that it's just you.
All right. That sounds like a plan. Oh, but again, I apologize for intruding. Stephen, I'm sure you understand. It would make the most sense for both of us to leave together so that Gilvia can be well rested for her big day tomorrow with you. Yes? Yes. And I put my arm around him.
As soon as Gilvia agreed to wait, that lightheartedness and curiosity and enjoyment of the situation left Steve. And he is now very rigid. And he stands without speaking and removes your arm from him.
Okay, yeah.
And he says, Gilvia, I'm quite disappointed, but I understand your reasons for needing to sleep on this. I would encourage you to make a decision soon, as we're running out of time. Now, if you'll excuse me, Sam, I feel no need to have an escort. And he bends down and very quickly, but still with reverence, scoops up the bowl, tosses the water onto the floor, and then scoops up the rest of the items that are part of this ritual, places them gently into the bowl, and then stands and leaves.
Well, that got a little awkward there at the end. My apologies. I couldn't help it.
You're right, Sam. You're right. It is a big decision, and I feel that if I make it in haste, it might not go over well. So perhaps I should sleep on it and decide whether or not this can be done as effectively in the light.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of parallels to choose from. I just want you to have the best.
Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
Sounds good. I just start backing up, bump into something. Okay, great. Well, I will see you on the Menjay. And I turn and...
Okay. You have successfully delayed Gilvia from bonding with Steve Irwin, which was going to happen this night. So, well done.
I'm going to go ahead.
Jackson, everybody.
I'm going to go... Okay, I go back to my friends. I'm like, guys, there's something I got to tell you, but I can't tell you, so we're going to have to figure it out together.
What?
I just can't. I can tell you, but I can't tell you. So you guys and I will just do some of these, and we'll pantomime it out. So that way I can
Do
preserve
charades? Okay.
Yes. So that way we can I can keep the promise without, but still communicate with you guys.
Okay, let's do it. Start.
Oh man. Oh wow. How do we even play this game?
Two words. First word. 2 syllables? Wait, what? 1 syllable.
Ear. Sounds
like. Hood? So, good?
Good.
Second word.
Second word.
News-
Open? Book?
New.
Good news.
Good news.
Good news.
Oh, also, I guess I can use other words. I just can't specify the exact thing. So we'll do that for the rest of it. So here we go.
It'll be more like taboo than charades.
Yeah. So good news. Yeah, I can obviously say that. They were going to do a thing, and then now that's not going to happen. We got to delay a game.
Great.
Great.
For how
But that's
long?
for at least tonight,
Oh, okay.
you know. But it doesn't look like they had any sort of preconceived machinations together. It looks very much just based off of what I read in the room that Steve Irwin just is trying to lock it up. He's just trying to lock it up, if you know what I mean. He had the basin and everything. He was about to get like straight in between the toes. You know what I
have to
mean?
get between the toes. It's one of the things they teach you.
Wait, did you wash? I mean, I'm not trying to.
No. No.
What?
Well, don't. I mean, I wanted to,
I don't like my feet touched, so
and that's fine. So we didn't do it.
There's
But
a foot thing?
yeah, you're supposed to wash their feet.
And did you guys try like a first base of that? Like you leave your sock on and he like puts your shoe on or anything like that?
No, she didn't want me to touch her feet at all, so I didn't do it.
Well, I mean, that would just be, her putting her foot into a shoe that you're holding open. It's like boundaries, you got to like find a natural flow to these things.
we did it with my hands. It was great.
Yeah,
It was fine.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to, Brandon. You don't need to grade it. It doesn't have to be good or not. It's just you just have to just do it.
It was lovely, and it was really awesome that you respected my wishes.
Oh, that's cool. But I'm just saying you don't have to say that it's lovely because it's not. That's not important. I'm glad, but it's just a thing you have to do.
Sorry, why do you do the washing?
I don't know, but Brent seemed to enjoy it, so that's cool,
Well, no, we didn't do it.
No, the hand washing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you just said you did a hand thing.
Are you guys making it weird, or am I making it weird?
Based off of what I just walked in on, I feel like I had to distribute some of that tension elsewhere, and I really appreciate you guys helping me find space for that. Anyway, good news for us. We've got at least 24 hours. He definitely is going to try to link it up with somebody. He's trying to become a summoner's parallel, is what's going down.
That's what we thought might happen.
And he's chosen Gilvia.
But why? I mean, I thought, isn't his whole thing to end the summoner parallel dynamic to begin with?
Yeah, so with Gilvia, it would make sense that if he just needs to basically take on a parallel to magnify his powers, that he would pick a summoner who desperately wants to be on the council, which is Gilvia's whole mission. It's everything that she's been working towards, and lucky for us, it was the very reason I was able to get her to delay her choice.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing to know. It's not bonding. It's not like a light switch. It's not like you wash the feet and say the words and then it flips on and you're hit with this surge of power. It's an individual choice. So I'm so glad, Sam, that you delayed it. But if they have made the choice and as they start working together, I guess what I'm saying is it's not going to be enough for us to just keep him from washing her feet, for example. That doesn't pull any kind of magic. That's just sort of an outer manifestation of an inner decision. That's why me and Bryn, we could just make the substitution that we made.
Well, in terms of making the decision, that is the thing that was delayed, not just the feet washing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm just saying, yeah, we gotta keep that. Should we? Look, I don't want to sound like the kid that's calling for grown-ups because he can't handle it, but should we tell your mom?
Yes, I've been wanting to go tell my mother. I'm sure I wonder if he tried to get in with my mother and she said no. So I'm very curious to hear what happened there and let her know what's going on.
Yeah,
bet
you
she
guys want to
shut
go
him
talk to
down.
Amelia?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I think that she would be in another part of this chateau. So you guys are still in the same area here where the visiting dignitaries are staying. But it's not too hard to find her window. And you're able to tap on the glass and she opens it so you guys can climb in. She's in there alone. There is a connecting room where she points to the door and says, I think she's sleeping. For her little secretary. But yeah, you're there with your mother, and she's like, wait, Brent, yeah, take forever. Where have you been? You guys are covered in twigs, covered in grass and twigs and dirt. You've been running around all over the place.
I know. A side note, it feels like we're in the movie Clue, where we're running from like house to house and the music is playing. Anyways, oh my gosh, there's so much to tell you again. But I'll start at the beginning, or at the most important part. Has Steve Irwin come in here and tried to woo you into him being your parallel?
Yeah, tell us about the wooing. Was there wooing?
He, I think, flirted with the idea. I made it very clear that I was not looking for a replacement parallel on this trip. So I shut him down, as you might have guessed.
God, I figured.
But I suppose that does make sense. Now, we heard that the water summoner arrived first.
Arrived here first?
Yes.
Oh.
Though, I just need to leave this fucking names list up. I'm having a hard time today. There's too many NPCs in this arc.
Sonny?
Zumafil? I don't know. I can't remember her name.
I'm not looking for the water summoner's name. I'm never going to find that. I'm looking for the void summoner's name. Here we go. So Gorvain and I arrived first. Gorvain and I arrived at nearly the same time. And we heard that the water summoner had gotten here first. Now, what we've heard is that Steve Irwin spent a lot of time with them, and then they have not necessarily been seen since. We certainly have not seen them since arriving, which means that the Summoner Council is down to a grand total of 2. Ligorium perished on Bloom. Lightning Summoner is still locked on the Lightning Planet. The Blight Summoner,
Yeah, KPO's gone.
which leaves Gorvain and I.
Well,
Initially, we called this meeting to fill these open positions, but that has become increasingly difficult. As I told you, we are not able to leave. We have very little contact with anyone outside of the moon. The messages that I was able to get through to you were not easy.
well, from what I understand, Steve Irwin wants to eradicate the summoner parallel bond and pretty much overthrow the summoners. So,
Join the club, right?
God.
What do you mean?
Well, it just seems like you guys have been stopping a lot of a version of this lately.
Wait, what? What?
You've been flying around the continuum system, shutting down people interested in overthrowing any number of things. Steve
That's
Irwin is
true.
the latest on a long and growing list of pains in my ass.
Right.
Your mom said ass.
Right
So,
after she said long and growing.
Very funny, Sam. I'm still a lady.
I mean, we're just repeating what you said, and it was a bit amusing. Not to be foul in any way.
Also, he's trying to bond with Gilvia, so,
Pretty successfully, it seems like.
Shit.
Right.
Indeed.
And she's full of all sorts of power that we don't really know about, so the two of them together could be catastrophic.
I'm not afraid of her.
Well, I'm not
But I-
either.
I am.
Good. That's fine.
Yeah, maybe
Tag.
you should be.
Me?
Sorry, Summoner Cosine. I just. Well, we both know what the company is capable of, and if they've learned how to make a summoner, I would be worried.
She
I
is
am
still a
worried.
person. From what I've experienced. Though I can't claim to know her motives beyond what I've already told you all. She doesn't appear to be a monster.
I will not speak to her personality, as I do not know her. But I will not allow the company a seat on the Summoner Council.
I stand by that. I use a lot of my willpower on a daily basis to forgive Rex for being involved with them.
Yes, it is a little uncomfortable for us, sweetheart. You do understand that, right?
Miss Miss Cosine. Bryn's mom.
I think Amelia will be fine, Tag. You are a member of this family.
Oh, thanks. That makes this a little harder. I think you're great. I think, obviously, me and Bryn are really close. And more than anything, well, not more than anything. Obviously, more than anything would be that Bryn and I are really close. Though I also think you're great. I would say, number one, me and Bryn are great, really close. Love her a lot. Number two, I think you're great. And then under that, number three, most important things to me would be that I agree the company sucks. Though they're the worst. I don't want them to be on the Summoner Council either. But the Summoners have it's a lot of power. A lot of decisions in one family. And it just stays in one family. I don't know. Maybe there should be other folks on these councils. Not the company again. Company sucks. Company sucks. Donkey dong.
Yeah, it is a heck of a question to unpack, but I would say just citing the events of this evening, looking at what happens to people without proper leadership in terms of these skull-faced assassins making all sorts of reckless decisions without any forethought, without any real intel, without really understanding what they're trying to achieve and the results of the actions that they've selected, reminds me that sometimes...
Happy Voidversary. And hashtag storytime for Tag since we're back where you grew up. As kids, did you and Vi ever sneak out of the monastery or into places in the monastery you weren't supposed to go for an adventure?
Cool.
So many questions. Maybe a hashtag visions can grant you a more specific answer. For these questions, I think a summoner from the very distant past might be the person to answer them. Danny DeVito is available for questioning.
Yes!
All right, Danny DeVito will be our next scene here.
Was that two different things? Was that?
That was two different things. Yeah.
Who do we say thank you to?
Sukamisia. Whoa. And
Sue and Merc. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Merc?
Aw.
All right, story time with Tag and Vi next episode, so I can prepare, and also Danny DeVito next scene.
To finish
I
that
think-
thought,
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
simply that as much as there can be improvements to the leadership systems that we currently have, I feel like amending them is likely going to be more beneficial than eradicating all of them and letting the planets just fend for themselves. I've seen a lot of what that looks like on Void, and it looks like the Morellis, and it looks like the Whitecoats.
For the first time in any of yours experience with her, except maybe Bryn, this conversation has had Amelia clam up a bit more than you've ever seen. And she says, this system is primed for transition if there were ever a time. Of this, I've no doubt. And perhaps we should capitalize on that. But I can tell you that I have ruled the Fire Planet from the moment of my coronation forward, and I've been trained to do so since the moment I was born. And that our family, through hundreds of years, have spent every waking
It's been
hour.
a lot of fun watching this past year. Happy Voidversary, friends. Hashtag
Aw.
mission control.
Do I get a thing? I get a thing, finally? Yes! Who gave that to me?
That was Rival.
Ooh.
Who?
Rival?
Rival.
Rival!
That's hey!
Thanks, Rival.
What's up?
Thank you.
Can we share the cool news about your life? Don't you obviously tell us in chat. And then someone who's watching chat, tell me if we can share the cool news about Rival's life.
Until we hear. Amelia says, everything I know is about protecting and providing for the Fire Planet. It has defined my existence and the existence of every summoner who has come before me. And despite the failings of some of those lines on other planets, I will not so easily give up my birthright.
Yeah, and while we're at it, since, I'm giving Rex a hard time about working for the company, and I feel bad about that because I actually care about Rex quite a lot. And I feel like we can unpack her employment, situation. But, not, just so you don't get let off the hook. I mean, we could always get into the economic situation on your planet in terms of addressing some of the poverty that's been going on there, the stuff that you've been trained your whole life to deal with and how that kind of isn't really quite equitable yet. So we could talk about gainful employment and some of the strategies that you got for that. But that's for another time. I just didn't want my sort of advocation for leadership being important to sort of blanket over being like I completely give you like an A+ on your, Anyway, this is it's a lot right now. I just came out of a really awkward situation, and I feel like I'm transferring some of that onto you guys now. So, I just feel a little, yeah. Anyway, I feel like I'm going to hand it over to the baton to Tag because he's so good about. I'm going to use some of the hand gestures he used earlier on TV. That seemed to work really well.
Okay, well, if I've got the baton, birthright?
Yes.
Okay.
I was born with the ability to communicate with and tap into the very planet itself.
And that means that you should be the only person making decisions for the well-being of all its inhabitants. That you can represent the extreme diversity of the Fire Planet in those decisions that are, quote, best for them. Look, I remember when I was 13, I really thought that I could do stuff that everybody would like. And everybody would like me. And every time I tried to do something that I thought, man, everybody's going to like this. Some people really did like it. Some people really didn't. So I thought, okay, well, I'll try again. I'll do something else. And then a different group of people might really like that, but some others really wouldn't. Miss Brinsbaum, I do think you're great, and I really mean that. That's not just lip service to then say something else. I do think you're great. I just don't know if it's possible for one person to know or execute that which is good for thousands of people. And this is where I admit that I come with a little baggage of my own, and I got a birthright too. But I also have agency to make decisions about what to do with that birthright, whether I want to hold on to it and act in its service, or whether I want to choose another path.
And what do you have to say about all this, Bryn?
I was like shrinking in a corner. I don't know. I mean, you can't, and I can't help with the power that we're born with, but we do have the ability to evolve, and I don't know, it's a little bit hard because when you bring somebody like, say, Barik, who we saw, by the way, and we totally clowned him. It was really great.
He was super uncomfortable. Worth it.
Super uncomfortable. He's stuck in like purgatory forever, and it's awesome.
It was pretty amusing.
If you he was corrupted, and so I don't know the answer of putting together people to assist us to make decisions for the whole entire planet, but I do know after traveling a little bit that things are way more complicated than I thought, and all I know is that I want to serve our planet and the continuum in the best way possible, and I'm not against changing if it needs it. But what do I know? I'm just a summoner in training. I mean, I'm a rookie.
I think you deserve a little more credit than that at this point. And I don't mean to give you a hard time, Amelia. That is not why we came here. And it is really off subject entirely about keeping you safe and preventing Steve Irwin from doing great harm. If his intentions seemed in alignment with the better good, I feel like his methods would be much different. I feel this is a malicious and dangerous plan of action that he has planned, and we are your allies in preventing it.
Well, I appreciate the help, but I don't need anyone to keep me safe.
You can't even figure out how to use your communicator. You need help sometimes.
Yeah, I overhear those calls. It's the only time I've ever heard Bryn lose her cool.
You don't have to shout. The microphone picks you up really well. You can just talk in a normal voice.
I think on the tail end of this, she actually turns very quickly towards her desk, which is up against the exterior wall. You can tell because there are windows. And she throws out her hand, and the wall just explodes out into the courtyard. There's a huge blast of fire. And the entire wall is now gone. And she walks over to the rubble, passing out into the courtyard outside. and she picks up the communicator, which is just charred at this point, and it catches fire in her hand. And she starts to speak, and as she does, you can see that heat is generating around her, and she's actually starting to lift up off the ground. And the sky above you guys is turning red, and the clouds look like they're even starting to catch on fire. And she says very clearly, I am not afraid of the company. I am not afraid of their science project summoner. I am not afraid of change. I am Amelia Coussaint, and I am the fire planet. And then she closes her hand, and that communicator just explodes. And there's actually just this, like, the heat that's around her catches fire and just whips around into a tornado. And when it clears very quickly. And so there is just this scorch mark in the yard, and the sky has returned to normal. And she turns back and heads back into the room. And she says, now, what was it you wanted to talk to me about?
I'm going to go make my bed real quick. There are some linens in the little chest in front of it. I'm going to go do that, leave you guys to catch up. I'm sure you have a... Yep. And I just walk right out the door, close it very quietly, and head back down the hall towards our quarters.
Just one second, and I walk to the side door to go into the other room, not realizing where I'm going.
Yeah.
I just need a minute.
You get there, and Gwennig is standing with a blanket wrapped around her, just like frozen, just standing there, kind of like whatever, like that huge noise that just happened pulled her out of sleep, and she looks like she has no idea what's going on, but she's very scared. And over your shoulder, Amelia says, I'm going to need a new room, Gwennig. But you are in the room with her now, leaving Rex and Tag and Sam standing in the room with Amelia. But you are in the other room, Bryn.
Sorry to barge in on you. My mother kind of lost it, and I freaked out a little bit.
What happened out there?
I don't know. I kind of, we were questioning her, and we were talking a little bit about like changing things up and the way things are run. And then I sort of called her out for not being able to use that communicator thing that she said that you always have to help her with. And then she just sort of showed off her power, blasted a hole in the wall, and now she's scary calm again. So
she's been under a lot of stress lately, Bryn. She terrifies me.
Right, now you see what I was growing up with. It was terrifying. I mean, I love her, and I know she loves me, but she's also a little scary.
And between you and me, Bryn, she's been using her powers a lot more lately.
Here, or just in general, even on Fire Planet?
Just a lot, everywhere. They're just on the tip of her fingers.
I think she needs a parallel.
I ain't gonna tell her that.
Okay. I'll try to gently bring it up maybe in the morning over some tea and some biscuits.
I think Steve Irwin was looking for a summoner to bind with.
He totally wasn't. She shot him down. I was so happy.
Kidding. I know, I'm just kidding.
Man, it's really nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. It's pretty weird and complicated, but past all of that, it is nice.
Yeah. in other different circumstances, we could have had a lot of fun here. This place seems pretty cool if it, wasn't trying to kill us.
Mm-hmm. I am worried about your mother, though, Bryn.
Okay. I know her pretty well. Once she's cooled down a little bit, I'll talk to her in the morning.
They talk about the old fire summoners. Your mother's library is extensive, and she takes pride in her family tree, and I've only read a little, but they talk about the old fire summoners.
And?
I just get really nervous to see how much she's relying on her powers.
I don't think I realized how sounds like out of control she's getting. I just thought she was stressed out, like we all are.
I think she is, but I think that the fire has a way of using that as an opening. It wants to burn.
Did the books talk about how to stop it?
The books mentioned the ways in which the heirs to the fire planet most often come into power, and it is usually on the tail end of a catastrophe, much like the one that destroyed the temple and killed your father.
So, you mean the transition of power?
It's usually not a peaceful one.
Oh no. Okay. Are you able to just keep an eye on her when I'm not around and let me know if anything happens that seems like it's dangerous or needs immediate attention?
You're hanging out with a company executive, a guy who used to turn into a big monster, a dude who's got psychic powers, and you can use every element in the book. And I'm a fucking desk clerk, and you want me to keep an eye on your mother.
Well, you're with her all the time, more than I am. You have no idea what else I've got to deal with. I mean, I could just abandon everything and just hang out with my mom, but she would absolutely think something was weird and up.
Okay, yes, I'll do it.
Thank you.
I have to go talk to. Is there a tag? Tag? Is there a concierge or something here? Who do I see about getting a new room?
This is
Gwennick. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the chateau is sort of contracted out. It's run by different folks. You can probably just go up to the front and just let them know what happened.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Through all of this, Amelia has just been standing by the fireplace with a hand on the mantle.
Rex is going to go up and talk to her.
Nice.
When you approach Rex, you can see that she's manipulating the fire in the fireplace in like a fidget spinner kind of way, like just twisting the flames and directing them and kind of doing that stuff. And she just is staring into the fire, kind of lost.
I approach her and stand right next to her, and I point my gaze in the same direction, so I'm not making her uncomfortable with trying to make direct eye contact. I'm trying to let her have her space and her feelings. And I stare into the fire that she's toying with, and that was quite the display.
Yes. I'd like to say that I'm embarrassed, but I think I needed that.
I mean, certainly dispels any notions that your daughter might have been running around with, that you were somehow incapable of defending yourself.
Do you think that I've been here playing this ruse of helplessness because I have no options, Rex? Do you think that I sit here without transport, without communication, and I do so idly because I am afraid?
Of course not.
The council must convene. We must choose new leadership. If that leadership involves people outside of these families, representatives from different factions, so be it. I do not wish to chain myself to the old ways, simply to chain myself to the old ways. I defend my position as the summoner of the Fire Planet because I feel I've earned my place.
Of course. And I am certainly not in any position to dispute your life or your training. But I am in a position to say that I know the company. And that level of power that you display, they will seek to use it against you.
I'm sure it doesn't surprise you, Rex, that they already have. Over the course of many years and many different times in my life, I've been approached from any number of executives from the company. They come with gifts, they come with threats, they come with promises. I have no interest in them. I have no interest in the other planets or how they're run. I have interest only in my people and my planet and my family.
When I finally turn to face her and I say, I understand that. And I never for 1 second doubted that in any way. But they will keep trying to break you in ways that you won't expect, in ways that you may not see. And I'm just warning you. Warning's the wrong word. I know I don't need to tell you this, but I need to tell you this. Your daughter loves you very much. And she's really scared. And I just need to say that they're going to do everything that they can. And I'm worried. And I think you should be too.
What would you have me do, Rex?
I don't know. Just guess it just feels a little like you were showing off. And I'm worried about that impulse.
Yes.
That you were trying to put us in our place. And I would be very wary of trying to put the company in its place.
Perhaps you're right.
And I don't say that because I'm trying to protect the company.
Sure. It is rare that fire summoners live much longer than I have already. And I suppose that statistic has been all too present in my mind. And perhaps If these are to be my last days or weeks or years, I have decided that I will not live them in fear, no matter the enemy or its size. That being said, while I am unafraid for any trouble that might befall me, for I feel capable of handling it, I do not wish Bryn to see harm, nor her friends. And so I appreciate, Rex, that you would take a moment to counsel me. What you say is very smart. There is a balance in the continuum system. There has always been. There is sacrifice to maintain that balance, for there has to be. This system functions because of the elements that fuel the planets that fuel each other. Some of them take, some of them give. This system is out of balance right now in a way that I have never experienced. Many of the planets have been cut off completely, and while they've been missing, we've felt that hole in our hearts, and as they return, it fills. But even now, these planets have no voice. Not to say that they do not have a people who have desires and needs, but the planets themselves. It's difficult to explain this, Rex, because I know that you are unable to feel that magic, but the planets themselves speak through the summoners. And so right now, many of those planets do not have a voice. And I believe that this leaves us in a very weak place, but perhaps it is what you and your friends have been saying. This would be the time to change things, if ever there was. I will keep an open mind moving forward, but it is very important that the Summoner Council convene and at least find voices for those planets, if not sole governing individuals. The planets need to be heard.
And Rex dares to put a hand on her shoulder and say, if it truly is a time for transition, then maybe that includes not going out in a blaze of glory.
What would you do in my position, Rex? And I'm not looking for what you think I should do. What would you do in my position with the deck stacked against you and your enemies closing in and many of them looking big and fearful? What would you do?
Is there a way to share what you have? We've had a lot of adventures. I know Bryn has tried to tell you about them, but there was a time where I did feel magic, where I did feel what it was like to speak for a planet. And it was incredible. What if we could all feel that? What if it wasn't just restricted to one person?
I don't know, Rex. What you say makes sense to me. But I am part of the problem because I fear losing that which makes me special, that which makes me the voice of an entire planet, that which makes me a leader and cherished. But I'm also I feel Bryn will benefit greatly from your counsel. And in the way that my mother and her mother before her laid no great edicts or works to be finished upon their demise and left the slate burned clean. I look forward to see what Bryn chooses to do with her seat.
Thank you, Summer.
It's nothing, Rex. I just about blew you all up, and here you are making me feel better about it. Perhaps it is time to do away with the old and usher in the new.
I mean, it was really cool.
Rex, that was nothing.
I think Rex walks away at that point.
Okay. She turns around and she says, well, Gwennig's going to get us another room, but I do look forward to our next chat.
I think I come around the corner and I just look at my mom and I say, "Can I have a hug?"
She gives you a hug, and it's not forced.
That makes me feel a little better. And I'm exhausted, so I'm gonna get some sleep.
Okay. You guys leave and head back towards the monastery, but before you can get inside, you hear, hey! Hey! And,
I forgot about this.
a wavering blue spectral figure floats towards you from the grass. He says, hey, I've been looking everywhere for you. I got lost. What's happening?
What's up, Dee Dee? How's it going?
You know, pretty bad. Still in limbo. Whatever's going on is really fucking stuff up. I've been summoned here by a force that I don't rightly understand to answer 3 questions for you. So, before we begin, I just want to say, what's up? How you been, huh? I miss these mugs.
All right, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
But if anybody has real questions, you should ask those first.
No, we could. It's right to kick it off, especially with Dee Dee. It's right to kick it off with a little fluff.
So, what percentage of you enjoyed your little calf liaison with Bryn?
I gotta say, Bryn, no offense, but the magic that summoned me here is forcing me to be candid about this whole thing.
Okay.
I was disappointed. I felt like maybe we had a connection, you know? You coming on to me, doing a little calf business. That's new to me. I never had a calf thing, but, you know, I've been around a long time. I'm open to try some things, and then, Bryn, you broke my heart. When you sunk your vampire teeth into my leg, and you drained nearly all the blood out of my body, even though it was a projection, I could feel it. And as I lay there on the edge of death, with the thrall of vampireship weighing down upon me, threatening to awaken me and put me forever in your service, I thought, wow, what a wasted opportunity. You didn't need to put me under vampire magic.
If it's any constellation, I could have bit anybody, and I chose you.
There were your friends in that room, and me, and the ghost of Slokta. Who would you have bit instead?
It's true, but you did have really, really, really nice calves.
Am I blushing? I can't tell I'm a ghost. Am I blushing?
Yeah.
I'm flattered.
Okay, this is not a question. It is an observation, and it's making me feel like there's an opportunity for me to be vulnerable here. Earlier, I said symphony instead of symphony, and I've been carrying that piece of baggage around with me for a long time until I heard Bryn say, "If it's any constellation," and now and now I just feel right at home that I could not be in better company than I am. So,
Mr. DeVito,
Yes.
for my second question, I just want to know, now that you're a spirit, gone from this mortal coil, do you have any regrets?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Well, let me just hear what one.
Well, honestly, I guess I wish I hadn't sacrificed myself to bind Slock to the Blight Planet. It sucks to say that, but we were trapped in those dreams for like thousands of years, and honestly, it was horrible. I also regret maybe not finding somebody else to put a stop to her sooner. Maybe participating in all those dreams. I also regret not betting on you guys in the cage match. I feel like I kind of missed an opportunity there.
yeah, we cleaned up on that. We still have gold from that.
Did fuck up big time there, Danny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I definitely. You definitely should have carried that one on to the afterlife. That's definitely like a kind of like I told you, but you know.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
So, I had another question, but I've already asked one. So if somebody wants to jump in for number 3.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
Well, I've got one for the group. Not this. This wouldn't take up the Danny DeVito question, but it's just to the group, and it's I apologize. It's a bit meta and absolutely breaking character. But is anybody else imagining him as the faun from Hercules, as the satyr from Hercules?
Yeah.
Was
I just
that
see
not
him.
explicitly said? It was through the whole time. I just assumed it.
Yeah, that's how I've always pictured him too.
It just seems like the delivery is very much like bare-chested, fawn bottom, like nice hairy chest, like 5 o'clock shadow. I just wanted to see if we were all seeing the same thing. Because
Well, I mean, I am now.
Yeah, before I was seeing Danny DeVito for sure, but
yeah, that was obviously not the question for him. That was anyway. I feel like Bryn, before you were about to ask a question before I interrupted with nonsense. So.
I mean, I did have a question, but it's a little bit more of a personal question, so I don't want to take Tag's question.
No.
How about this? I'll answer them both, but only because it's the end of the stream and I'm Danny DeVito.
Okay.
Sweetheart.
Okay. If you could give me one piece of advice as an upcoming summoner, what would it be?
I suppose that it would be to surround yourself with people you trust who aren't royalty.
Okay. Feel like I'm already sort of winning in that department.
There will come a time when you are faced with believing that it is only up to you to make the decisions for an entire planet. I would maybe talk to a couple focus groups.
Okay.
Find some people not from your world. Maybe some people from your world. I wouldn't place the burden of leadership solely on your shoulders.
Okay.
There have been many a summoner who has tried and failed.
Okay. Thank you. And I do my very best to keep my eyes on your face and not look at your caps.
God, you still got it for him. Go.
I don't have the vampirism, but yeah, there's just something about him.
Once you bite, you can't go back.
Now, what did you want to ask me, Tag?
Have you ever had a perfect day?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Woke up on the beach, didn't know how I got there. Spent the morning catching waves. Afterwards, the whole crew, we're talking about the whole squad, shows up. Pig roast, luau, coconut drinks that night, bonfire, night swimming in the nude. Just kind of like living. Now, I think a big part of this that made it the perfect day was that I woke up on the beach without knowing how I got there. It made the whole thing feel like a dream and therefore allowed me to not concern myself with how I should be acting if it wasn't. I found that for some reason I accidentally was able to live in several moments that day. Pretty sweet.
Does sound
There was, yeah. Well, okay. This is Danny DeVito saying, unlike most of the episodes of this stream, as I'm a ghost, I feel the privilege of going meta here. We will not be leaving on a cliffhanger. Thank you. Happy year anniversary, Blackout.
Big favorite. I love that NPC.
Oh man.
We've had some really good NPCs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No,
Thank
it's a
you,
very
Jesse.
selfish short.
Jesse Lee the Keeter.
Oh yeah.
You're welcome.
And thank you, chat, for naming a lot of them.
Hell
Most
yeah.
of- all the best ones.
Not just more than naming them, like giving them some attributes and qualities and backstories.
Heck
Yeah.
yes.
All my favorite characters that I've been able to play have been created by chat.
That's amazing. Amazing. All right, we got a question from chat.
I'm gonna let this one go to. I don't have it on here, so I would be. Give me 2 seconds, all right, fuckers? Just 2 seconds.
Okay.
Time to say,
This is a question that came from the Discord. Yeah, say your thing, Tag.
cool news with Rival. He got an awesome job opportunity, and he's taking it.
Woohoo! Yeah, rival!
It sounds very cool and very exciting, even though I don't know any of the particulars.
Oh, I know about this. I
Oh, yeah?
I saw it on Facebook. If it's who I think it is.
It's Rival.
Yes.
There aren't too many people with that
Well, I
name.
wasn't sure if you were talking about a Twitch handle named Rival, so I wasn't sure if it was the same.
I don't know. But I will, if this fellow's still within our chat, I'll let him say more. I don't want to give all of his juicy details away, but it sounds really dope, and we like Rival a lot. And
A whole lot.
He's super great.
All right, this question's from MetaVoice. It came from the Discord. I feel like it's an appropriate one for the. This is why I was deliberating, because I wanted to go and get it. I feel like it was appropriate for the anniversary stream. What was the first project you worked on with one another? And where can we watch it if it is in a visual format?
Man.
I'm going to go first. I don't think we need. Let's just choose somebody. I'm going to choose Connor. Connor and I did a play together very early in my time when I first moved to Seattle. Was it pretty early for when you'd moved to Seattle?
first year, yeah.
It was called Her Mother Was Imagination. It was an original production that Annex Theater did here in town. And Connor got the role that I really wanted. So I went in kind of thinking, like, this is the guy who out-me'd me. But it was a very cool and strange play. Connor opened it by doing a monologue where he was just like shouting at an angry mob of people. And we didn't have an angry mob, so just me and one other cast member would go to the back of the house, and like as he would yell stuff, we would just say in like Cockney accents, like, "Oh, fuck you, man! You don't know what you're talking about. Fuck you!" As he would just yell at us and the audience. That's where we met.
Since then, just in case anyone's keeping score, Jesse then beat me out for the next like 7 or 8 roles that I was trying to book. So,
So
all's fair in love and Seattle indie acting. Okay, well, I guess we'll just tag team it a bit, or not tag, but just like pass the baton. I'll go with Casey Jackson, who I first worked with on a web series called Mana Screwed. If there are any Magic the Gathering fans out there, you should watch this. It's about Magic. You can find it on YouTube.
It's great.
Thank you. If there are any non-Magic fans, you should also watch it because we tried to make a show that would be equally appealing. This is a show that I made with a friend named Austin, who I had worked with before, who was the brains of the operation. And as we were talking about various roles, he was like, there's one that we're just set. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? He's like, there's this guy that I play Magic with. His name is Casey. And I'm going to try to get him in our show. And he's going to make it about 15 to 20 times better if he says yes. I was like, oh, cool. So the bar was set very high. And I think, Casey, you and I had like maybe a quick scene one day and then maybe a very short scene the next day. I admit, much to my shame, it was not immediate that I realized what kind of fire I was playing with. But we were filming episode 4, and we started to do a little improv. And it was the kind of improv where I was ruining most takes because I just couldn't keep a straight face. And I was like, holy shit. This is the funniest man I've ever worked with. And that's Casey Jackson. It's the first thing we worked on.
Is that the scene where he didn't know how to turn on the stove?
That's the scene where he didn't know it. You would be right to confuse it with the scene in which we were playing EDH and he plays the card Fog and also goes on a real roller coaster of hilarity. But I think for me, that first one was, the scene where he's in the kitchen and just claims to not know how to turn on a stove. I think about it all the time. It's like one of those, I will go watch the blooper reel just to see the like clip of Casey's improvs from that scene. They're very smart. I don't even laugh anymore. I just get like, it's so fucking smart.
Well, I'm very flattered. I accept the baton. I'm very pleased that I'm still friends with Austin, who did that show. And not to deflect Connor's compliments and acknowledgments with an additional compliment to Connor, but there is definitely a scene in that show that Connor was doing a monologue, and you can hear like my moans of giggling on like throughout the takes. He's like so distraught as he's describing this visceral thing that's going to happen to him, and I was like literally just weeping and spending all of my willpower to hold it in. It's still one of my favorite things. I can just hear the tone in his voice as he's talking about having his like eyeballs sucked out.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fantastic. I don't have a specific time. Most of the first time that I've worked with everybody is on this show, but I'm going to cite Lisa in the first time that we got to work together, just the two of us getting to work together, which is something very current and very new, which is that Lisa is cranking out some incredible TikToks. So I'm going to plug Lisa's TikToks, which is @_the in crowd. Lisa has a couple of TikToks that are just absolute fire. She has a variety of things that are on there. And if you enjoy Lisa and you don't want to wait every week to see her on Zombie Orpheus, go watch her channel, Hey Smalls. And if you still haven't had enough Lisa, go check out her TikToks at _ the in crowd for some silly good times. So,
Well, Casey, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not just a TikTok, but a TikTok that exists as part of.
this other show that Lisa is on and in and starring in and fantastic in called The In Crowd, which is a Twitch show. I'm basically just a Lisa fanboy. I followed her to this show, and then we did this other show that she's in, and now I do a TikToks because I have no self-control, and I'm always just like, hey, Lisa, let's do an idea. And she's like, great, done, nailed it. And
Are you criminally burying the lead? I also think that Lisa is on some next level shit, but the In Crowd, you are directing and producing this show, right?
yes, and
writing it.
And Jesse
Yeah, that's a big
is
deal.
the DM for. Like, you're only as
Yeah,
good.
y'all should watch it.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool, and I have a good time.
yeah, they're very good in it, and I'm trying to figure out how best to continue to put the spotlight on the people that I work with because I love you all, and you guys are fantastic.
Gosh, well, I think the first project that I worked with both Connor and Trin on was a short film from 2011 called All My Presidents.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
I
Is
know.
that the one where Ryan Sutherland says, "Don't you stick him" or whatever, and I
Yes!
died? Okay.
Yes, it's that one.
I literally forgot about that.
I think that's the first time. Connor and I had a scene together. Trin and I have we ever had a scene together? Never.
Which is why I didn't think of it, because I was like, Lisa and I have never worked together.
No, but I
Multiple.
produced that, so we kind of worked together because I was there in production for it.
Yeah, it counts.
It counts. So it got into SIF and it lives online somewhere. It's called On My Presidents. It's a short film period piece that I got to produce and act in, and got to meet Connor and Trin. Actually, Trin and I met leaving an audition that I won't talk about, and we talked in the parking lot afterwards about it. So that was
one
the
of
first
the
time.
weirdest. It was when I was just starting out and I had no experience with auditions, so I had no idea if what I had just encountered was normal or not. And thankfully, Lisa was there to assure me that it was very not normal.
What was it?
What was it for?
A decade, yeah. What
I
was
think it was a film. I don't know. The audition was in a Starbucks lobby. It was.
I feel like I've had an audition in a Starbucks lobby before too.
Yeah, and it was one of those really great things where you walk out and you're like, what the fuck? And then you see another actor that's like, what the fuck? And you like talk to each other in the parking lot. And then, Trin came in and rocked this 80s role in this short film. And I was just like, oh, who is this? She's so great. And then, and then we stayed friends, even though we didn't ever get to work together.
Yeah. Literally
write
never had
something.
scenes together until doing this show.
Yep.
Wow.
It seems
crazy.
criminal.
Yeah.
Jesse,
Yeah.
I never worked with you either until last year. So also weird.
Technically, we were in Criminals together,
That's true.
but we didn't have a scene together.
We didn't have a scene together.
Jesse and Connor, am I allowed to talk about the show where we all worked together for the first time?
What was that?
Yeah.
You played the title character, Jesse.
Glitch was the first thing?
Yeah.
I guess you're allowed to. Why would you be allowed to?
I don't know, in case you didn't want people to send, in case you didn't want people looking it up and watching it.
No. I had a great time working with you bastards on that. But it just wasn't the first. It's where Connor and I's friendship solidified, but it wasn't the first time we'd worked together.
I was talking about the first time we worked together, jackass.
We've taken a turn.
What was our scene?
You were
Was that
hitting on me.
Oh, multiple scenes. That's
Yeah,
right.
she's the love interest.
That's right. I totally forgot a lot about the actual show Glitch. Because my memories kind of revolve around like making it. Yeah, that's
And I
right.
wasn't, to be fair, I wasn't there for much. I only ended up showing up in 2 episodes. So I wasn't
Like
there
the first
for much
episode
of the
and the
making
last
it.
episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your role was significant.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
downplaying
supposed to
my
meet out of
role.
the 6 arms, where the 6 arms were supposed to meet outside of the 6 arms.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
So for anyone who's not familiar, Glitch was a web series that we made in like 2011. And it was one of the very first things that I ever did. And Jesse played the title character, whose life is now being, like, video game glitches keep happening to him. Like his actual real life concert tickets just blip out of existence and so on and so forth. And it's very silly. And I think you can find it if you do a Google search for it. But yeah. And then
It's interesting.
Connor was
Searching
also,
for
Connor
it, 'cause
plays
it's
his
called
best friend
Glitch.
in that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just if you Google Glitch, it's buried a little, but it's there.
Yeah, it
Continue.
is not the Australian. I just Googled it. It is not the Australian TV series. And Connor and I didn't have any scenes together in Glitch. But I do remember I was involved with the casting process of Glitch, and that role that Connor ended up having was particularly difficult to cast. And I remember one day one of the producers was like, "Oh, we got this tape from a guy, like he's in." I was like, "Who? Who? I just brought you all of these fantastic actors, like in person. Who is this person who sent in a tape who's perfect for it? Like, please."
In like
And then
2011.
what? I
Oh,
can't
so
hear
this
you.
was.
You're
I
very
should have
quiet.
interrupted to begin with. Why am I quiet?
I don't know.
Forget it. Forget.
Anyway, I then saw him in the role and was like, "Oh, he's perfect. That was perfectly cast."
Mm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you made and sent that tape from Malaysia. It's pretty cool.
He's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
I knew that from the second that I met him. It was one of those things where when we met walking on the set, I always have like a bit of it, like an attitude. Like just in general, I'm kind of like, ugh, about everything. And then like within like 30 seconds of the first take, I was like, oh yeah, no, he's great. He's real good. It's like being like, why is this person the captain of the basketball team? And they go out there just like hoop. Good pass, good defense. You're like, oh right, yeah, of course. Yep. Pass to Connor. He's doing Space Jam stuff, so we'll just
Connor, aren't you in the collectibles as well?
I am.
Yeah.
Oh
and Trin-
yeah.
Yeah, we're
Lisa,
all in that one too.
Were you
The
in
thing
the
with
collectibles?
What's up?
Who?
Was Lisa? Were you in the collectibles?
Yeah, I played the evil hand. I got to play villain.
Oh yeah.
It was
wait,
great.
So we were all in the collectibles.
If you're in
I'm so
Seattle
jealous.
in 2011, you're in
Pretty much. It was the same
together.
actor.
They're like the renaissance of web series culture in Seattle.
Yep. It's so good. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out on our 1-year anniversary. It's really incredible that we made it a year pretty consistently every week.
Oh,
What
and
started off-
Brian is like
And
a lot of us all
Brian!
worked with him for the first time on Glitch as well. Brian is also in Glitch.
Yeah.
For me, it was Journey Quest. I remember seeing him and Christian Doyle talking about Firefly before I'd ever heard about it. And then they didn't give me a hard time when I was like, what's Firefly? They're like, dude, you just got to watch it. But that's when I met Brian Lewis.
Brian and I went to high school together, but didn't know.
What?
We didn't know until 10 years later on a random film set, we started talking that we both went to the same high school, had the same drama teacher.
Wow.
That's just nuts.
That's
I know.
okay.
I know. He's great.
Brian is a great person to be on a set with. He's just kind. He's just a really, really kind guy.
Hmm. And funny.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah, he's great. We love you, Brian. All right, it's late. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Cheers to more episodes and finishing up this incredible adventure. Thank you so much to Mark Thomason for working on behind the scenes, Juju.
Woo!
Getting all that camera work in, all the camera work and all the sound effects and keeping us running. Thank you so much, Mark. We adore you. Thank you to Aaron Buman for that dope ass intro and the music.
Dope ass intro.
So good. We pinned his SoundCloud in the Discord under announcements. You can find all of his work there. And thank you to Mark Workey, our amazing mod, coming through, putting up the website. We have a website now, www.voidjumpers.com. All of our info is there. There's past episodes and lore and character bios and all sorts of stuff. And Mark worked so hard putting this together. So thank you so much, Mark. We appreciate you.
I used it today when I was prepping this episode.
Huh? You
I
did?
used that I used the website today when I was prepping this episode.
Yes.
Nice.
That's so great. Thank you to Zombie Orpheus for hosting us on your Twitch. They've got other stuff lined up. They've got Zoe Game Night tomorrow night at 6 p.m. in the Discord, Jackbox Games, lots of really fun stuff. You can go hang out with everybody. And then the Reliables, their new show is on Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Christian and James and company. Super fun. And then we are back next Wednesday to, I don't even know what lies ahead. Some sorts of shenanigans.
Thanks to everybody who donated tonight. That's super cool. We got some fun stuff out of it.
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you.
I think we'll keep the summons maybe up next week because there's still more characters in case people want to summon them in. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. We adore you. Couldn't do it without you.
We do adore you. Booga, 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 booga.
Bumper.
Connor, stop! That tickles!